Welcome back to CFB Nation. I'm your host, Nino Brown, and of course, I got my guy with me all the time. Every week he's with me, my guy Dino. And if you see us on the screen, you already know the deal. It's Devy Darlings. Dino, what's cooking?
I mean, it's that time of the year we're winding down college football season, but this is probably my favorite part of the season where it's all the off season bowls, draft, researching for guys like this, so that we can start talking about them.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's kind of, we're going to talk about it real soon, but kind of lost in the shuffle, I feel like, from where he started even to where he went, last year. But I think this is going to be his time. And like you said, we got one game left. It's the Natty. I know you're excited because Notre Dame. You picked them early, and that's your team.
Yeah.
They're there. Um, but the portal and all those things that come along, kind of. Devy Darlings kind of has to switch gears. We have to take into different factors here, and it's not just the talent level. And maybe it's the opportunity, maybe it's a new coach, maybe new scheme. But I think that this gentleman, Noah Rodgers, is in for an uptick in 2025. And he has a chance to be a Devy Darling. 6'2", 195 pounds, former four-star recruit, top 10 wide receiver in the 2023 class. Yeah, he was eighth. But like I said, I kind of feel like he got lost in the shuffle at Ohio State behind, Connell Tate and Brandon Innes. Those are the big name guys, and he kind of just fell behind them. Obviously, Harrison and Booker were there at the time, and Fleming. But he out of the trio guys that came in, I felt like he kind of just fell back. Top 50 overall in the 23 class. He was the number one player in North Carolina. He went to Roseville High School, two-sport athlete, football and track. And again, anytime we start talking track, I refer to you because you're the guy. 11-3 in the 100 and a 23-24 on the 200. Guy also had an 18-9 long jump. I mean, you're talking about a freak athlete here. What are those numbers to you? That's fast, right?
Yeah, those are real solid numbers.
All right, that's what I forget. He was also part of the Under Armour All American game. That game is just loaded with talent. Dino, talk to me a little bit about his time at Roseville.
Yeah, so Roseville, his sophomore year, he played 9 games, had 26 receptions, 591 yards, 9 touchdowns. No, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that's 22 yards per catch.
Yeah, big time.
So junior year, he kind of took off, started putting up some video game numbers.
Mm-hmm.
70 receptions, a little over 1,400 yards, 22 touchdowns. He averaged 20 plus yards per catch. Senior year, 13 games, 39 receptions, 800 yards, 15 touchdowns. Again, 20 yards per catch. He had 9 total carries for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he also returned kicks. He had 26 returns for just a little over 600 yards.
Yeah, and that alone is what was kind of keeps him on the field as a guy that even at the next level could get him on the field. On Sundays because he has that special teams capability. Speed, man, speed. You can't teach it. When you got it, you got it. And this kid has it, and he has other pieces, to the puzzle here. Fast. That's one thing, but it may not seem like it, but if you really watch him, he's a good route runner. Like he's deceivingly a technician when he's out there. And when this guy gets in front of you, good luck. He's an athlete. Like I said, you got a guy, long jump, full track athlete. He's got good body control. He has no problem going up there for that 50-50 ball. You've seen that catch against North Carolina. How he caught the ball, I don't even understand. But then when you look at it from the reverse angle, he looked like in his face the whole time, like he knew he was catching that ball. He adjusts well to all target balls. He had to go through 2 quarterbacks this season. One being a freshman in Bailey. He had a lot of off target. The kid just does well with it. He knows when to sit down in zone coverage, which I like, and he can play, on the field all plays because he blocks well, whether it be in the run game or just passing. He's a field general. You get him in space, he's going to create something. We're going to talk about this room. Opportunities is knocking. But he was highly recruited, like I said, and he kind of just fell in the background like the Homer Simpsons meme. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so obviously being the number one recruit in North Carolina, he was going to be swimming in offers. He had 20 plus
Right.
offers from all the big dogs: Auburn, Florida State. Brian Hartline went and saw him for Ohio State. Michigan, Oregon, Alabama, who Joe Cox was the recruiter that he spent time with. Like I said, pretty much all the big dogs wanted him.
Yeah, we talked about how he went, to Ohio State. Unfortunately, things didn't work out there. That room's been loaded when it comes to the wide receiver department for about 5-6 years now. They've been kind of just pumping him out. He only played in 4 games, got 4 total snaps. Decided in 23 he's gonna hit the portal with the North Carolina State. Came home, right? Uh, did well. 30 receptions, 419 yards, and a touchdown. You gotta remember, he wasn't the guy. Kevin Concepcion was the guy. So being, Robin to his Batman, those aren't bad numbers.
Especially with their quarterback troubles they had this year.
I was gonna say, thinking that they were gonna have Grayson McCall the whole time. Dude got absolutely blown out, a bad injury. He's had, cases of head injuries at Coastal Carolina. This one was a bad one. Had to call it a career. They threw in Bailey, CJ Bailey, as a freshman. He had learned, under fire, and adjust. A lot of the time, it seemed as though he was a one-read quarterback, but he was adjusted on the fly. He had to see the guy being open. First read, if not, I'm taking off because he does have that dual threat capability. But now it's going to be a lot of opportunity. I think this guy's going to be the big dog because the portal is closing, and it doesn't seem like they went and attacked that in this department. You know what I'm saying? I said portal's closing for your time to be able to get in. It's pretty much only one more closing time, whether it be a coach and after the natty. And they haven't got anybody, nobody's gone to them. So I don't know if they're going to really be able to bolster this room except for what's there and what's coming in the freshmen. But talk to me about this room because Concepcion is gone.
Yeah, so like you said, Concepcion is gone. He was the Batman, like you said. He had 53 receptions, 460 yards, 6 touchdowns. Again, sounds low, but with all their offensive problems, he was still alpha.
Was it 10 touchdowns last season, 1,000 yards? So
All-American as a freshman. So yeah. Then they have Dakari Collins, who's a junior, 22 receptions, almost 300 yards, touchdown. Wesley Grimes, a junior, 21 receptions, 280 yards, touchdown. Justin Jolly, the tight end, 40 receptions, 620 yards, 3 touchdowns. Might be the only guy that he competes with catches, really.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got this freshman who I'm actually pretty excited about, so I'm glad you put him on here. Terrell Anderson, he's a top 20 wide receiver out of Grimsley High School in North Carolina. 13 receptions, 153 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, I like the talent on the freshman there. Again, really hometown kid. Rogers' hometown kid, so I get it. Jolly returning. He made the announcement that he's going to return to the Wolfpack. Like I said, they haven't got anybody in the portal in that department. It's looking like it's going to be Noah Rogers, and he's going to be the wide receiver 1. There's some changes on his offense as well. Robert and I is out, and I know a lot of people liked his type of scheme. I don't know if his type of scheme worked well with Bailey, but they now went to Kurt Roper, right? They promoted him from QB coach to OC. Got some NFL experience. I mean, he's been working with quarterbacks and offenses for quite some time now. Maybe this is what, Bailey needs to get him to the next level. But ultimately, Rodgers is probably going to be the guy he leans on in the wide receiver room. And then you have Jolly. Jolly's a red zone guy, right? Jolly's probably going to be that short and intermediate guy. That's what he was for them. It's what he was for UConn. Rodgers can stretch the field. Rodgers is that speed guy. Maybe they move him around instead of just putting him on the outside. Maybe they put him in the slot a little bit just to be like kind of a blanket for Bailey. But the talent is there. I think the opportunity is there. I really like the kid's game, and I think he's primed for a breakout here, and he's hungry. You hear him talk. He stayed there. He wasn't leaving. This is where I'm home. I want to be here. I see a lot. Let's get to these player comps because there's 2 guys that I got on here that are kind of interesting, kind of different side of the spectrum here, but I see a little bit in each one of their game. First guy, it's Senior Bowl time. We'll get into that, 2 weeks away. This guy, he played at the home of the Senior Bowl, South Alabama. Jalen Tolbert, now he's on the Dallas Cowboys. Actually had a breakout year for the Cowboys this year. ended up being kind of like their number 2 down the stretch here when Cooks kind of faded away. Injury, which always happens to him. He had 178 receptions, over 3,000 yards, 22 touchdowns for the Jaguars. He was the 3rd-round pick, 88th in the 2022 draft. Another guy sits down, knows how to sit down in his own coverage. He's kind of a speedier guy. Once he gets out in front of you, good luck trying to catch him. Good hands, contested guy. Another guy that I think I see a little bit in this game, contested-wise. Can line up everywhere. Got that build to him. Michael Wilson out of Stanford, now with the Arizona Cardinals. He kind of, another guy, Senior Bowl guy, kind of got his buzz going into the Senior Bowl, did well at the Senior Bowl. Then the draft happened and pro days, and this kid just kind of kept taking off. 135 receptions, 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns. I mean, no slouch. And this guy, I think he was a 3rd-round pick as well? Or right in the same pocket. Yeah. If you were to take both of them and kind of mesh them together, I think you kind of got a Noah Rodgers here with that style of play. He's not the biggest guy, you know what I'm saying, height-wise, but you can just see in this face, he's got some muscle to him. He doesn't mind going out there and going up on 50-50 balls. He wins them, and he's got that speed. What are your thoughts on my plays, and give me your 2?
I'm a huge fan of that Michael Wilson. I think he's extremely underrated after what he did this year. I can see a lot of what you see of Noah Rodgers on tape mirroring what Michael Wilson did at Stanford and what we've seen on Sundays this year. So I'm a big fan of that comp. So my comps, my first one, I'm gonna start with the little fish and work my way up.
Right.
So my first one is Josh Reynolds. The reason I have him is he's a field general type wide receiver. He's not the fastest guy, but he knows where to be on the field with his time with the Lions. He knows how to find those windows in the zone. He'll eat you alive playing that way. And he's a gritty wide receiver. He's not afraid to get dirty. One of the better blockers, I think, at his position.
Big play guy. He's been a big play guy for golf on 2 teams.
Yeah. And then, so my second one is I'm going to say young Amari Cooper. Not so much Amari Cooper now, younger Amari Cooper.
Okay.
Just a solid stack house for a wide receiver. Had great body control, even being a little – he's bigger than Rodgers is now, but for being that solid, he had good body control. He was a 50-50 dream at a wide receiver. Sneaky athletic, probably some of the most crisp routes of his draft class. So, and then again, I said sneaky athletic, but at the same time, he would burn you. So
yeah, you look at Rodgers and you're oh man, doesn't look like he speeds him, and then he goes out there and just blows right off the line.
He's right past you. So
I got a guy that just came to me, and this is archive going back there. Not the flashiest guy. Had a good career as an Indiana Hoosier. I think he might have played like 6 or 7 years at the NFL for the Denver Broncos. Cody Latimer. All right. The size, the build, another guy that was kind of a big play guy. I think his senior year at Indiana, 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards hit, 70+ receptions. Another guy, 20+ yards per catch at Denver. He was that big play guy. Needed a guy on the outside to go out and get a big play, get things going. They went to Cody Latimer. If he doesn't, if all the boxes don't check, and this is the floor. You're looking at a 5 to 6 year NFL career.
Pretty solid floor.
He had 1,000 yards in that time at Denver. I'll take it. You know what I mean? He may not live up to that number 10 guy in the draft class or, number 1 player out of North Carolina. Like I said, Cody Latimer had like a 6 or 7 year career in the NFL, and he was the dude for Indiana that year that he went into the NFL. So,
yeah. I was going to say, now that you bring up Latimer, another one didn't have a very solid NFL career, but Jordan Matthews out of Vandy is another guy that kind of
now
he was bigger,
right?
But
big play guy,
yeah.
Got out field stretcher. Once he got out in front of you, good luck.
Yeah.
I really do think that this Kurt Roper thing is going to play a huge factor in it. I think they're going to try to right off the rip. They're going to want to make Bailey comfortable. I think Jolly and Rogers are gonna be those guys for him. I want to see how they use him. Like, I want to see if he just lines up in the slot. I want to see if they put him in motion. I want to know if they put him, if they line him up in trips. He's got to be the guy for them, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Concepcion was a true wide receiver one, but he was the guy that they used in the run game, right? He had like 6 or 7 touchdowns rushing the ball. I don't see Noah Rogers being that type of guy. He's a wide receiver. That's it. Like, so let's kind of scheme him up. Let's get it going. I think one pack, one goal. I think you're looking at this guy is being your wide receiver one for the Wolfpack, and we're about to be talking about why did it take so long for Noah Rogers to kind of break out. And I don't think it may have been his fault. It might have been time and opportunity. The door's knocking. I think it's just time to answer.
Absolutely.
All right, Dino, this was a good one. We're gonna be pumping out. I got another guy that both of us are kind of interested because people out Alabama at Auburn. I'm excited about guys, right? They got some guys in the portal, and they got Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson. But there's another gentleman over there that they're not really talking about too much. That put up some pretty good numbers.
Maybe the best of all of them.
And he's just riding under the radar.
Yep.
We're gonna leave it at that. We'll check you next week. This is Devy Darlings. I'm Nino Brown. That's my guy D now. We out.